Back to our DNA. This is episode 6. I'm Brandon Duplessis, aka the Great Communicator. We have Philip Price and always David Medina. How you guys doing today?
Awesome.
Doing great.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
It's been a busy week for me and myself. I was about to start telling you guys. I figured I'd save it for the cast.
Okay.
I switched jobs last week.
So what prompted that? I mean,
You know, I'd already made a shift about a year ago or 9 months ago, shortly after you came and visited, Philip,
right. I
or just
remember you
before that,
just
I think.
started there. Mm-hmm.
And the company was growing. It was a startup, and I've helped startups before, and I've been successful at it, but they take time, you know. And my industry is growing so fast, and it's booming right now, and this is why I'm in the industry, so I can be part of this boom. And the company I'm with is not ready for it. So essentially, I felt like you guys are growing on my dime, you know, and I've been getting offers from other companies. And, I think I talked about it before, experience counts, right? So
It
through my
does.
experience, people have been reaching out to me, and it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to put myself and my family first,
First, amen. And
and
that's
and not,
real.
yeah, and that's what it came down to. So very thankful for the opportunity. I started with this new company, and they're pumping. So it's like going from college to the MBA, or high school to the college. Like, it's a different
Really.
level, you know.
Well, it's starting up like any business tomorrow. If we go open up a donut shop tomorrow, it's going to take time before you build up the momentum of a company that's been already established.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're already in the industry. You've been doing it for, like, when I took over another dealership, I had 3 of them.
right.
It was easy for me to go and put in all the processes because I've already done it. So we came out the gate doing business because I didn't go try to own a trucking company. I was in the car business that I had been in for a long time.
And that company was already around too, right? You
Yes,
stepped in.
yes. It was already established. So I bought a
Yeah,
pre-existing company. All I had to do is say, we're changing name under new ownership, blah, blah, blah. And
right.
then you start. But when you're starting from the ground and you've never been in that industry, that can be hard,
Yeah.
really hard, you know?
And it was hard because I essentially, one of the owners, there's a few of them, is one of my best friends. And I essentially, like, I kind of joke about it, but I had to break up with him.
Yeah, because those kind of things are, yeah.
And which is kind of coming up to one of the things I was going to bring up, which is like, when do you know the right time to leave is, type of thing.
Yeah.
But it was hard because as much as I wanted to stay and be a loyal person, because loyalty is important to me, I also had to just be honest, because honesty is important to me just as much, and honest about that. Hey, I need to make money, and I need to leave the situation I'm in.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad I did, because this other company's pumping. That's why I was a little late today, guys. Sorry about that.
Oh, no
Oh, it's fine.
problem. But
Yeah.
my birth sign is Leo, and I'm a pretty loyal person. Short, quick story. Years ago, I was supposed to be the first African American Honda dealership for Honda motorcycles.
Mhm.
And I had an opportunity to do the deal with Bill Shack. You've heard that name before. And Bill said, I'll do the deal with you, Phil, but only if it's you and me only.
Mhm.
So I made a choice to be loyal to the guys that started the deal with me, and it ended up blowing up, and it never got off the ground. Whereas I should have said, hey guys, I'm gonna do this deal with Bill, but I'll do a side deal with you guys that once it's up and running, because I had the letter of intent that was valued at about $2 million. So Bill said he put in the other 2 million because I got the opportunity.
Mhm.
So, but that deal never got off the ground because I couldn't put it together by myself. So it never became a reality. So we all lost.
Everybody lost.
And those tough decisions that we have to make in life, but number
Oh,
Oh no.
is
there you go.
I mean,
Okay, we got him back.
your kids got to eat. I mean, we can't live on hope now. Say, show me some love. Maybe I can fight through the mud with you. But otherwise, if you know down the street, I can go. And how long they've been in business?
The company I'm at now, they're going on 3 years.
That's all part of about being in business, though. You tough decisions come with being an entrepreneur, like we all are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that's why we didn't go get a regular job where we didn't have a whole lot of choices. You have to stay there and work the 9 to 5. We're entrepreneurs, so we have to do what we have to do to make that money, man. Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's
I'm learning right now.
You learn it, but learn it young because it's funny how making a decision. I mean, and even Bill brings it up. He said, "Phil, we know that thing would have made millions, and you." I mean, he cusses me out about it. He says, "But you were trying to be loyal," and he says he puts everything based on business. Mm-hmm. He has a way much younger wife. His wife is like 30 some years younger than him.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
And
good job, Phil.
Bill's. Yeah, but he like he said, he sets everything up. There's incentives for her to stay to the end, and that's why she's gonna stay to the end.
Shit.
Sure. Well,
that's how it works.
I wanted to bring up a topic actually, since Brandon was asking me about how my day was at work today.
Okay.
As you guys know, I recently got a promotion, and it's been a blessing. I will say that, of course, because I've already seen in 1 month, the first month essentially there, that I've increased my income basically like double. And it's insane as somebody who's 25 and already knows like I have to stick to a strict budget. And to make that double income, it's like, okay, I could spend a little bit more, but the whole point of it is because I am trying to save, I am trying to get my own place or invest into other opportunities. So I just pretty much invested like, I don't know, maybe double what I'd normally invest. And then I used a little bit of it for fun and pleasure, and going out. So in that sense, it's been a blessing because, I've seen my income already double, and I seem to be on track for this month as well to keep going that far, maybe even a little bit more since I am commission based now.
Right.
But all that said, I had one of the most frustrating days at work today. And I think it was more due to the fact that there was kind of like a miscommunication with a coworker, and it turned into kind of like me basically being not reprimanded because I wasn't in trouble. I didn't do anything wrong, but I had to be told the same thing 3 times as if I didn't get it the first time. And I'm essentially supposed to call these leads, but I'm not supposed to call his leads, even though they were fair game for a while. I was just told yesterday not to, but as soon as I was told not to, I stopped. And I was told that I had these leads if they already were appointments that were set, then I can call them. But the coworker kind of asked me about it today, and I'm like, I already know, like, don't worry, I'm not trying to intrude, whatever. He tried giving me a lecture because he's a little older and he likes to act like kind of like fatherly, and it kind of upsets me because we're in literally the same position and we're both new. And what really frustrated me was that our boss essentially had to tell me something too, which made no sense because, like, why would you have to get involved as well unless somebody told you to get involved?
Right.
And that's what upset me the most, because I was like, why am I being told this 3 times when I already know not to intrude on your leads or anything like that, which also takes away from my leads because he could talk to any of them and he's been doing well at that. So I'm kind of like, in this place where I'm like upset with that.
Commission
And,
sales, you're going
yeah.
to run into those complications. I hate to say it,
Mhm.
whether it's the
Yeah.
car business or the gold business. Um, a
Text.
friend of mine called Brandon because she had a little run in today at work because
Right.
another girl, she flipped it to, closed it, but then they're trying to say she don't get half of it, and she's trying to fight for that. So, but that happened in the car business too, though, guys. I
Mhm.
mean, people, but usually management steps in and set what it has to be, what it's going to be.
Mhm. And it's a culture too that, and David,
It's
I know the companies, own, like I know the vibe, and that's why it's important who you work with and for, because they set the tone, and they
Mhm.
create that environment to where even at the company I'm at now, I'm sure there's a few people, I haven't learned who they are yet, that would not stick to that code and would want to take that deal. And I've
Yeah.
been shocked a few times. Unfortunately, people will disappoint you, right?
money is the root of all evil. Have you guys ever experienced in your family someone died, left some money, and see how humans react to that? Even if they get an equal amount, somebody in the group is going to feel they deserve more. My aunt
And
died years ago. She left clear cut. This is what everybody gets. One aunt says, no, I think because I spent more time with her, I should get more.
Mhm.
Of course, she gets a lawyer, and a lawyer is going to tell you, yeah, we can win, we can win.
they
But
always
when
do.
it's an ironclad will, ain't no lawyer going to break that.
Yeah.
They're just going to
But
take the
guess
money.
what's going to happen? He's going to get paid. Who gets paid first, Brandon?
The
Brandon,
lawyers
who gets
get paid.
paid? The lawyer gets
Get
paid
paid.
before anybody gets anything. They ended up
Mhm.
all getting like $25,000 less because she spent 6 months fighting it. And of course, he was saying, yeah, we can win. Yeah, we can win. And you'll get more. But in the end, they all got the same thing, but 25,000 less each one of them.
Mhm. And
The
it's
worst thing, I know brothers and sisters that a Jewish friend, he was a big number. And he chose to look out for himself instead of his sister. And you know how that goes. And he got the millions.
Mhm. And it's I've witnessed it, and it kind of exposes who people are already, right?
Yeah, but the greed comes out, don't you think? Is that what
Well,
that is?
I think people who are already greedy, people who are already selfish, relationships that are already broken, the money shines a light on it,
It
you
Mhm.
know.
does, big time.
And just like there's good rich people and there's bad rich people, there's good poor, there's bad poor. Um, Money just exposes who you are, right? And what you're really about. And that's the
Mhm.
hard part. And that's the disappointment because, you know, I could never see that happening with me and you, David, or you Philip, like, because we've already we've built this relationship that I would trust and pray that like you guys have my back, like I got your back.
Go away.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I would do this with you guys and why I'd spend that time. A
Right.
buddy of mine called me and I pretty much told him if we didn't have the relationship we had, I wouldn't be on the phone with you right now. Like
Right.
Yep.
I wouldn't even be wasting my time. Um,
Mhm.
but reality is, unfortunately, not everyone's that way, right? And
Right.
we talked about this, I think, a few episodes ago, where it's about who you keep around you, right? And how your friend circle gets smaller over time because you end up starting to learn who you can trust, who you can't, who you can work well with, who you don't. And money exposes that real
It
quick.
really does.
Yep.
Well,
Real quick.
if you really look even this presidential election, Trump's family is all going against him because he was the trustee, but he got all the money.
Really.
And his sister, who's a federal judge. They all talk really bad about the man because they didn't get none of the inheritance, and it was 400 million, and he got it. He got all of it.
I think that's one of his bills he owes. But it's all across the board. You know,
But that's in any level. I've seen it. I mean, it could be $10,000, and I've seen people.
Yeah.
It brings out, like you said, I think who you really truly are. As a young man, I think money guided me the wrong way because I'd never had it, and sometimes when you're young, you think money makes you who you are, but really who makes you are is your character and who you are as a human being. But a lot of people have to learn the hard way. You know, you can't worship money. You can only worship God. You can't worship money, but I had a love for money because I had never had money. And then when I got a taste of money, it can, if you're not planted, it can corrupt you. I mean, I always look at these young guys that sign these multi-million-dollar contracts to play football. And if they don't have the right people around them, man, look how many of them end up broke, busted, drugs, alcohol,
alone.
And that's the worst part, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, I don't know how you took the news, David, as you were hearing this 3 times over, you know.
Yeah.
But it's one of those scenarios where you smile and nod. You're like, okay. You know, and I even to this point now where someone, it could be any situation where someone's like facing me with something that I'm not really in agreement to or even like. I just smile and say, okay, all right, listen. And I take that in and I pivot based on who they show me they are, you know, and what's going on. And, you know, you see the environment you're working in.
Yeah.
The dope thing is this, you already have the experience.
Yeah.
So once you have the experience, you can't go backwards. So you can walk into any place now and say, listen, I know how to do this job. I've done it well, and I want to work with you guys. Oh, great. So you don't have to stay in a scenario that you're not happy in.
But don't you agree that even if you go, here's what I learned as a young man, because in my 20s, I was that guy that if you said boo to me the wrong way, like you were feeling today, hey, I'm out of here, I'm done, blah, blah, blah. Then I go to the next place, they say that's a different something to me.
I'm out.
I'm out. Well, after a while, I looked at myself and I go, whoa, wait a minute. Especially once I got married, I've been like, you got to change this. Yeah, you can go down the street. You probably can make the same money. You can do this, do that. But that moving, because here's the test of life. It's sticking to it. The people that are successful in life have that ability to stick it out.
Yeah.
Whether it's marriage, whether it's business, it's that consistency. The inconsistency never made me any money. I can write a book about it. I can tell anybody about it. Once I figured out that no matter what if it's a good job, there's going to be some stuff there. So David could leave tomorrow and think down the street, you know what is that thing? The grass ain't greener on the other side. Just water your grass.
That's where you water.
Just water yours.
That's
because
right.
The truth is that there's no perfect place.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be things you like about this place that you ain't going to like that the other place had. That's just human nature.
Without a doubt.
Right?
Without a doubt. You got to stick things through to an extent, right? Like
Right.
But if
you can make more money, I can see why you did it. That's hard.
Yeah. When you have that opportunity and you have the experience, that allows you to make a decision, right? And if you stick it through and you get the experience you need out of it, You'll know
Right.
when the right time is. It will come. It will show it to you itself to you.
But David's 25 with limited experience. You have what, close to 20 years doing what you've been doing?
Oh yeah,
That's two different scenarios altogether.
two
I would talk
different.
to David like he's my grandson. No, you stick it out. The grass ain't greener down there.
Right now, David, you have to stick it out. Right, you
Right.
stick it
Yeah.
out. You smile and nod. Like I said, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
part. That
Because that's
smile.
what, if he was my grandson, that's what I would tell him.
Yeah,
Because now it's
Right.
one thing if he's been there 5 years.
Yeah.
He's just getting his feet wet.
yeah. He's 6 to 9 months. Right.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. 6 months, I think.
You don't
Yeah.
want to even
Since
consider
April.
moving until you have 2 years behind you.
Yeah.
Then you can say you really have the knowledge to move on and go to a better place. But I'm just, I'm a lot older than you guys. That's just what I've seen
Yeah.
work.
Well,
You know what I
if it
mean?
were up to my plan, I guess right now, hypothetically, no matter what my plan is to be wherever I'm at for a year or two, so that way I can make money, wherever I'm at, I want to make a certain amount. I want to at least hit 6 figures within the next year. And on the side, still be doing my side businesses and build that up. So that way, within a year or two, I have that to go to. So that way, I'm my own boss. Because my ultimate goal is to be my own boss. I don't want to be, see, I don't want days like this because I can have great days and everything. But then one day like this is what hurts the most, because somebody of authority is telling me I can't do something that I already thought was making you money, and now you're telling me not to do it. So now it's like I'd rather just make myself money and make other people money the way I want it.
But when you're
That's
your
how I
own
see it.
boss, all that pressure's on you.
True.
I went to the Mayo Clinic when I owned the 3 dealerships. I spent $10,000. It's a week for executives to get your
Hmm.
vitals and everything. At the end, the guy says, "Well, you're a type A personality. You own 3 businesses, and that's why you have all these symptoms that you're feeling because it's the pressure of your business." Well,
Yeah.
hell, I wish I'd have heard that in the beginning instead of spending the $10,000 to hear that.
To
I
find
mean,
that out.
yeah, because it's the pressure of being your own boss. Because
Yeah.
now you got, when you're your own boss, you have to. Here's the long and short. It never changes, David.
Yep.
Take it from an OG. It never changes. No matter if you're your own boss, there's going to be some type of pressure. It's how we handle it.
Yeah.
That's what grows you.
That's
Yeah,
what's going to grow you.
grows you. That's
Giving up ain't going to never be the remedy.
That's fair.
Because even when you have your own company, which I know you will someday,
Hmm.
there's going to still be challenges. That's just part of the territory that we all chose. Think about it. My whole life, I've worked on commission.
Yeah.
Think about that. My whole 52 years, I've been in the car business.
Wow.
And a guy told me, his name was Jay Brown, the owner of Spartan Dodge back in the 70s. He says, "Boss," he spoke with a Southern accent. He said, "Boss, you know why I love this business?" And I said, "Mr. Brown, why?" I'm 20 years old. He says, "Because nobody tells me what I'm worth." He says, "Some months I'm worth $50,000. He says, "Some months I ain't worth shit. At least I determine what I'm worth."
That's funny.
it's true.
It's the truth, though.
Yeah.
You've been doing it, Brandon, for 20 years. Basically, what you eat is what you hunt.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
100%. And
100%.
and it's the way to eat the most as well, right? Like
Yes.
Hmm.
if
Yes.
I would take having to go out on my own and hunt versus depending on someone else to hunt for me or a perfect, commissioned only job, or not commissioned only, sorry, salary job. I haven't had a salary job for essentially 20 years. Yeah.
20 years. Same here. I mean, I never woke up on the first of the month and said I'm guaranteed 50 grand. Even when I was the owner of these dealerships, do you realize at the beginning of the month, I had to sell at my Red Bluff store 200 cars to make what I needed to make?
Mhm.
Wow.
That ain't a guarantee. When I had San Rafael Ford, I had to sell about the same 200 cars to make what I want. Owning a car dealership, I worked the first 2/3 of the month to pay all the bills and all my people and everything. The last 11 days was mine.
You're the last
That's
one
what
to
I
eat.
got. Huh?
You're the last one to eat.
That was the
Mhm.
hello. Last 11 days. And that's why you see in these businesses at the end of the month, the owners pushing it so hard. They push
Mhm.
harder on the last half than they do the first half, which I did the whole month. I pushed it the whole month, but that was the icing on the cake, the
Yeah.
last 11 days. 10 days, last 11 days. That was me. That's my money. Okay, now I done paid everybody. I've got enough to pay all my employees, 85 miles of fed. Now it's time for me to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I ate pretty damn good. So,
Yeah.
It's
you
a
know,
delayed gratification, right?
but remember what we're saying, there's going to be a challenge no matter what level we reach. When
Yep.
David owns his own business, he's going to have challenges, just like you have, because you're in business for yourself.
Oh, 100%.
You're your own boss.
Those challenges happen daily, and it's some external, some internal, you know?
Mhm.
And, but yeah, with your situation, David, smile, nod, take it, you put your head down, you work, right? And like I
Yeah.
was
Keep
saying,
pushing.
you have the experience, you keep showing up, you're going to continue to make more money,
Yeah.
and the experience is just going to get you paid more and more. And when the time is right, because of what you're doing, it will open up more opportunities for you.
Amen. Amen. And especially when in the sales business, once you know how to sell and you master the art of selling,
Mhm.
uh, you pretty much can be dropped off anywhere and you'll find some way to eat
It's
because
true.
It's fair.
you know what
I
I
was
mean?
just I was just talking to another guy. So I'm getting a lot of calls about jobs right now. People know you, people know me, and they're just calling and saying, Brandon, where are the opportunities at?
Yep.
And the guy I was talking to, he said, someone told me that once you learn this industry and you learn how this is done
Mhm.
and you become good at it, you're going to have a job anywhere you go for life.
Yep.
And because of his status and because of what he's done just in the short 4 years he's been in the industry, he's getting more opportunities right now. And he's like, Brandon, this was true. This person told me that, and it's been 100% true. I'm having more opportunities now than I could have ever thought, just because I learned how to do this and sell well. Right. So I feel like no matter what industry I'm in, I'm hireable, and I'm able to eat. I can go anywhere, any kind of industry, and still hunt
Yep.
because of the skill I've learned. And that's the skill you're learning too, right, David? Like,
Amen. And he's young and be thankful though. Aren't you glad that you discovered it?
Yep.
Because a guaranteed salary is putting a cap on what you're worth.
mhm.
They're telling you that's all you're worth. This amount of money is all we're willing to pay you. That's what you're worth to us.
Yeah.
and you're agreeing to your worth.
That's
Right?
fair.
You
Yep.
agree that I'm worth, if I make $5,000 a month, that's what I'm worth.
Mhm.
Yep.
So when Mr. Brown told me that, it registered because you got to understand, and everybody that goes into commission, would you agree, Brandon? You're scared because there's no
Mhm.
guarantee. How do I buy a car? How do I buy a house? My payment's going to be this much a month. I don't know if I'm going to make enough to pay that $2,500 mortgage.
Scared right now.
But
I got-
that comes with the territory, though, don't it?
that comes with hunting. You're out there alone, scared,
Mhm.
but still looking for what you're trying to hunt, hoping you're not being hunted at the same time.
Same time. There was a great line in a Steve Martin movie, and he was contemplating what we're talking about to do a business deal. And she's an 80-some-year-old lady telling Steve Martin, it was supposed to be his his mother that's
Mhm.
telling him. She said, life is like an amusement park. You can get on the Ferris wheel. You'll go around and around and around. She said, but give me the roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down, it goes fast, it goes, and it's crazy. She says, take the roller coaster, don't take the Ferris wheel.
Mm. There you go. We definitely on the roller coaster, all of us.
Yeah.
I've been on it for 52 years
Yeah.
and wouldn't do it no other way.
Mm.
I mean, seriously. I've made millions of dollars doing it that way.
Mm. Put your head
That's fair.
down, do your thing. Well,
Take the roller coaster. That Ferris wheel just goes around and around. Because if we took a job tomorrow that paid $5,000 a month, that's basically getting on the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
And people say, I want a guarantee. Well, what if they decide to sell the company? You still don't have no guarantee that
Yeah.
you're going to have your job if they sell it, the business, right?
mm-hmm. And
That's
what do
fair.
you do next? Right.
There's no guarantees in life. Taxes and death are the only two guarantees for sure. And I know you all have heard that, right?
Yep.
100%. And you can
Taxes
try to
and death.
cheat them, but they come back somewhere.
Well,
they find you one way or the other. But
I got to tell you, I was that guy, like they said, the Jewish guy in the back. He says, 1 for them, 3 for me. 1 for them, 2 for me.
you definitely find the way to get as much as we can. That's for sure. Out of life, right?
You do.
Before
You have
death
to
does
work
come.
it. The system is, it's, but once you learn what you're learning, David, you're going to always be.
Yeah.
I think that security comes with time, don't it, Brandon? If you really think about the first year you did this, if we all go back to that first year, man, it was terrified. How am I going to take care of my family? How am I going to buy a car? How am I going to eat?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you just start waking up every morning because you have that confidence. I know what I'm doing. I can make this happen.
Like I'm starting brand new right now. So I have that same fear that you have when you're starting all over. A whole new hunt, right? A whole new environment, a whole new season. And I'm going to a new company, starting at zero. Am I scared? Yes.
Amen.
Is it hard work right now? Yes.
Yes.
But I'm 100% confident that the results will pay off. And I'm getting it. I'm gonna eat. Like there's no question about it.
Nice.
And that's the confidence that I've gained from this through life and experience that I've gained. So even starting with our old company, David, or my old company, we were there. I knew I still ate. I was eating, better than everybody else, and it wasn't because the leads were better for me or I was given anything better. It's because I knew how to hunt better. Right.
Okay.
And yes.
Yeah. And I know how to sell. I know how to listen. Right.
Selling is listening. When I started in the car business, I taught. And then I had to learn. You got to understand, I was young and enthusiastic, but I had to learn to do this and listen. Because people tell you how to sell it, but you got to listen to hear it. And that's what I had to teach my salesmen when I would train them. I personally would train my people because I knew there was no better teacher than myself to teach them how to do this.
Yep.
And there's certain sayings. People don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. If you master the art of sincerity and really give a shit, people will respond to that.
And it's authentic, true.
And it's authentic. You can't just be a salesman that's selling BS because that's going to eventually catch up with you. Every guy I've ever met, no matter how good they were, that was living on that thing, they didn't get 50 years behind them. They somehow ran into something and got in trouble. And they you know what I mean? And I'm sure you've seen it in your industry, right, Brandon? 100%. Guys that kind of bend the rules, they don't do it the right way. They usually don't stay in our business forever because they have to go do something else because they burned some bridges somewhere.
That's the
Yeah.
biggest part. They burn a lot of bridges typically, and that catches up with people. Like whoever you're working with, David, he already kind of burned a little bit of a bridge with you.
Right.
Like, and you said he's older than you, right? This guy's kind of
Yeah.
like a father trying to be like that. Well, you said it the best. You're in the same position as he is.
Yep.
And that,
But see, here's what I want to. I differ from what you just said. Give him the respect because he is your elder. See, that's something I was taught as a kid.
Mhm.
Even though you're in the same position, give him the respect. Hear what he has to say, and just because he's older, I'm gonna listen to it. But still do business the right way for you.
correct.
You get what I'm saying?
Now,
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. You still show the respect. That's why I say you smile and nod. You don't.
You smile and nod.
Yeah, absolutely. You show that respect because
Amen.
there's no reason to combat that kind of argument. Nobody wins, right? So
Yeah.
the best thing you can do is listen, shake your head, okay. And when they're telling you 3 times, you understand each time they're telling you, they're just trying to do their job or do their thing. So
That's fair.
you smile and nod and like, okay. It's kind of like our parents. How many times have our parents told us like the same thing? And we're just like, oh, you already told me, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the reality is ultimately their goal is good. And even if we don't like what they're saying, they do.
Okay, but as you get
Yeah.
older, and I'm looking at you, Brandon, because you're
I'm in the
older
middle,
than
yeah.
David.
Yeah.
Do you remember those words vividly? Then can
Absolutely.
you hear
Yeah. You remember those words very clearly. And
very clear? Now
the
in my
word-
20s, I forgot all about them. My 30s, I still wasn't listening, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, damn, she was right.
you
Damn,
start
she
hearing
was
those
right.
things.
Damn,
Yeah.
I wish I would have listened in my 20s. Oh my God. The kids that are smart is the ones that listen to that while
Mhm.
they're young.
Mhm.
This is a life lesson we're teaching right here.
Yeah. Now, what I was going to say though is certain things you listen to for sure, without a question. But I also believe that you got to know who you're listening to, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Because
Amen.
this guy, obviously, you got to respect the situation and smile, nod, and do your job and keep getting yours, and not let his moment of reacting and creating that environment for you to ruin anything on your end because you still
Right.
got to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, maybe taking advice from people that don't have what you want or don't have that kind of success. You know, if he's sitting there in the same position as you are and he's much older, he may not have made those kind of choices that got him in a place where he's in a higher position than where you're at, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you hear, and that's what I tell my kids too. It's like just know who people are, so when you're getting advice from them, you know where it's coming from.
Amen.
You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
because
I
if
get
you
that.
have that guy who's combative and yells at everybody, isn't friends with everybody, and he's the one giving you advice, you can smile and nod, but you
But
may
don't take it to heart. Okay.
don't
Yeah.
maybe take it as much to heart because you're like,
Mhm.
okay, this guy, you've worked with me, David, so you know how I am,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Yeah.
like my advice to you is the same I take for myself or I take for somebody else, and I say it with sincerity.
Mhm.
And I've worked to a place where I've earned my stripes too, and it supports what I'm saying, right?
Right.
Uh-huh.
I remember working as a waiter when I was 18, and I just remember sitting there, and there was people that were like in their 40s and 50s, and they were serving just like I was.
Mhm.
And I was just, and they're like, "Yeah, I've been here for 30 years," and I was like, "Wow!" I was like,
Yeah.
and then they asked me for a ride home, and I was, and it was
No.
far. It was like a 45-minute drive, but I was
But
Oh
young.
you can
no.
have 30 years experience, but you really only have 1 year experience that you repeat 30 times.
That's the Ferris wheel, right? Or around and around and around.
So just you can't say you have 30 years experience if you really haven't moved the needle.
At
Yeah.
all.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, that the advice you get, like my sons, they're going into college, right? My oldest son, and
Yeah.
we have all different types of family. His mom's and I aren't together anymore, and and he has other family on the other side. My advice to him in college is, ways to keep him having fun, but also safe
Yeah.
and living true to his values and virtues that I've already instilled in him, and not
Yeah.
losing himself as he goes into the next stage, because
Yep.
it's easy to get lost, right? And especially in college and early
Oh,
20s.
Yep. I can
But
agree to
yeah,
that.
so many other people give the advice that's opposite of what I'm saying. Oh, go have fun. Oh, go do this. Oh yeah, go
No.
party, go do that. And I'm proud of my son because he knows that, like, he knows he's getting advice from people in a place of from who they are,
mhm.
but he's
Yeah.
also sticks to who he is and the advice I've given him, which I'm very proud of. And we're
Yeah.
3 months in, but it's been pretty strong so far. But yeah, you got to
Yeah.
be careful because people give all kinds of different advice, and it's not always in someone else's best interest, right?
Yep.
It might be in their own interest and what they would want to do if they went back.
And I bet
Yep.
from his point of view, he was trying to protect himself. It sounds like it. That's what it sounds like, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he tells me. I'm very thankful they talk to me. They still tell me what's going on.
Mhm.
My son calls me multiple times a day sometimes, right? So I'm thankful to have that relationship that I have with
Yeah.
him. But yeah, you got to know who people are and where their advice is coming from. 'Cause
Amen.
Yep.
Amen.
that will definitely lead you to the path that you have to decide, if it's right for you or not. And I definitely lived a lot of lessons that I had to learn,
Mhm.
and that if I could go back, I would change. I would adjust because
Mhm.
you live with those lessons, those scars, those things that stick with you. And in the moment, like you said, Phil, when you're younger, you don't listen to certain things, or you don't even know about them, and you find out the hard way, you know.
Yep.
And if I can help my kids or you guys, David, or anybody else learn from my mistakes, right? Which is Philip, I know that's why you're doing this too. If we can
Yep.
help a few people learn from our own mistakes.
Because sometimes hearing it from somebody that's not directly connected to you, sometimes those words sometimes penetrate a little different, and maybe you'll hear it a little different.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll hear something. And if we can get one person or two people that from our conversations that they figure out some things, that should be the goal. The goal should be to share knowledge, talk about topics that really people are dealing with, because we
Yeah.
all are trying to grow. We're all trying to be better human beings. We're
Yep.
all trying.
Mhm.
So
Ow!
it's a
Dude,
challenge.
get down. Mhm. My cat just clawed me.
There you go. Don't have
Yeah.
cats. No, I'm just playing. I'm allergic to cats, so I can't have one anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely. I would say if anyone's ever giving you advice, try to take it. Try to take a moment and sit on it, and don't
Mhm.
reject it right away. Right? It's
No.
like
Yeah.
I was always,
Listen, but make your own opinion. But listen,
yeah. But
there's
give,
Yeah.
you can learn from everybody, I think.
yeah,
But it might not be right for you. But at least listen to their words, because
Yeah.
look who's the most successful people. They're very quiet. Their ears are open, and they listen, and they
Yep.
don't say a whole lot. Guys that run these Fortune 500 companies, they don't talk.
more than
They
they
bring
need.
more than they need, and the words are more powerful because you can put too many words out there, and it doesn't have
Yeah.
the same effect as words of power.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when I
'Cause
was younger, or even now, I still work with it, but I was getting advice from other people, but I didn't always take the time to actually think of the advice they were giving me. I
Yeah.
would,
that was me as a young man. I was I don't know if I was what's called, and excuse my French for what I'm about to say. I was, as a young man, I was a sexual intellectual. Do you know what that is?
oh, you
Do
tell us.
and we're on the YouTube, so you can say these
You
kind of
say
words.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I was a fucking know-it-all, a sexual intellectual.
Yeah.
And when you have that, it doesn't allow you to grow at your fullest potential.
No.
You
Makes
know,
sense.
when I learned to listen to my employees, and that's why when we put out a spiff for the employees and the management, the
Mhm.
craziest idea gives, like for the employees, it was $200.
Right.
For the management, it was $500
Mhm.
because I wanted to take the governor off.
Listen.
Hey, boss, this is a crazy idea, but I was just thinking about it because now you're not afraid to say it because you're getting paid for the craziest idea.
Yep.
Do you see how that works?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know how many great ideas came out of that? Because now they wasn't afraid to tell you. Because you said, okay, boss, you said the craziest idea. Now don't get mad because you the ones. I said I was the one that said it. Yeah, the craziest idea.
Oh.
What the heck?
But you learned you getting all kinds of theft
What
drops
the
there.
hell was that?
But
Oh, you know, they came through the window, right?
no, it was
Yeah.
it's your iPhone. 'Cause
Oh,
when
okay.
like see right there, you did a thumbs down. You probably
No,
can't see.
but I
Oh,
didn't hit anything.
yeah, it's all hand motions now.
Oh, it
But
is?
yeah, so but you learned that as you became a boss and a leader,
Yeah.
as a younger man, as you're to be led and to be, you know, like I had people telling me advice and I think I was a little bit more, maybe I'm not aware that I don't think I was a know-it-all, but I think I was maybe too insecure to show I didn't know, or I would maybe be like, oh yeah, I hear you. And I'd just say, okay. And I'd listen to them, I'd hear them, but
Yeah.
I didn't open up to like talk more. I didn't ask more questions like, oh, what do you mean by that? Or how do you mean? Like, I just acted as if I understood and I didn't
Yeah.
expose that I didn't really get it, or I didn't want to expose that like I wasn't quite sure what they meant by it, or that I wasn't ready to even hear what they had to say. So I just, okay. And I wouldn't really take the time to process what they're telling me. And
And
then,
that's what we're talking about.
yeah,
When,
Yeah.
no matter what age you are, if you learn to process stuff, look at the best problem solvers. And that's what being an entrepreneur is. You're a problem solver.
right. That's why they
Yeah.
never stop.
Henry Ford says, whether you're 8 or 80, you quit learning, you die.
Yeah.
So we keep
I
learning.
love, even at this stage of my life, I still love to learn, man. That's something you should never lose.
Yeah.
Because when you get to a point where you think I know everything. Excuse me?
Yeah. Now I invite, not if someone has something to tell me, I'm like, oh, tell me. Great. I want to hear, the stories. I want to hear the advice. Where I think I've always been that way to an extent, but when I was younger in my 20s, when I would get advice from other men, it was harder for me to hear without a question, and I let it
Yeah.
go. So if I can give any advice to anyone in their 20s right now, is take a second or in their 30s, 40s, doesn't matter. If someone's sharing something with you, don't be quick to react. Listen.
Mhm.
Well, I was talking to my oldest grandson, Caprice, that has his business in Houston. And he called me back and he says, Papa, I really appreciate you telling me that because he likes to listen. His dad taught him that. He says, I appreciate what you shared with me.
Mhm.
And so to see a young man, 18 years old, when I was his age, I thought I was the smartest guy in the room. So I thought I had it all figured out. He
Right.
doesn't come across like that. And that's why at a very young age, he's having success doing what he does.
Yeah.
Because he's constantly trying to learn more. He's constantly trying to get more information.
And when you think you know it all, you're not trying to learn more. You're good.
Yeah.
You're trying to party more, have more fun. You already know what you're doing.
Eliminate ego, etching God out, because
Yeah.
that's what ego is, and pride.
Yeah.
Those things hurt most people more than anything. Saying, like you said, not sometimes maybe you have to find somebody who knows a little more than you and see if they can help you figure out whatever you. That's why you go to a therapist. They just have trained themselves in the art of listening and helping you to figure out things. But usually it's
Yeah.
by listening. If you really listen to it, if you've ever been to therapy, I have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They let you rattle and they say, well, why didn't you think about this? Well, I didn't. And you spend an hour doing it. And I would recommend it to anybody because
Yeah.
but growing up, I thought only people that were weak went to a therapist. As a kid, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I would definitely say, and I think we've talked about this already, but talking about what's going on with you to the right people is important. Staying
Yeah.
isolated, staying by yourself alone. Don't get me wrong. There's times for isolation to clear your head, to have that peace, to listen to God,
Yeah.
to meditate. But when you're going through a hard time, you don't have to go through it by yourself.
And that's when you do need people, don't you think? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when we said we were going to do this, that's what, I have a lot of thoughts in my head, just like you guys have a lot of thoughts in my head. And I just thought if we got into our podcast and we could share our thoughts.
Yeah.
And, to be successful, you have to also open up and be vulnerable too.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get more vulnerable.
Oh, yeah. We're just going to get into deeper subjects. And I think that's where it's going to grow.
Yeah,
Just
I've been
talking
thinking
about
about that.
life.
We're on our sixth episode now. We're just getting the dust off and learning the ways of the podcast and how this goes.
And
but
the technical stuff.
the technical stuff.
I get it. Yeah.
For me, especially,
Yeah.
thank God I have grandkids and stuff. They teach me a little bit of this stuff, but I didn't grow up with this, so it's.
I've been a
That's
big
fair.
fan of. I've been a big fan of Gary Vee, and he had this. He was one of the first big. I don't know if this is true or not, but he had one of the first shows on like a wine podcast or wine on YouTube. And when you see his first episodes, they look like this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But he just did it. And we're only at number 6. But I think by number 10, we said we want to have a first guest kind of thing. But we're going to dive deeper into other topics. We're going to learn from other people. We're going to have our opinions. And I think I really look forward to seeing where this grows into.
Can I make a suggestion for the group?
Absolutely.
What if we text each other topics we would like to maybe talk about for our next podcast to really kind of get some kind of order in our brains what we're going to talk about before we get on there? Do you think that would help? I mean, we're already in a group chat. Let's just say, well, what about this or what about that?
Yeah.
And then we'll come up with once the three of us talk about it, come up with something that makes sense out of what we talked about to see if we want to talk about it. Because we got to talk about current affairs. We got to talk about life. There's a lot of, there's no limit to where we could take this.
True.
Just like you brought up Henry Ford and the different types of books that he's a part of that he's been quoted on. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of topics. There's a lot of current events. There's a lot of life issues. So this is just the beginning. I think the beginning. I can't wait till we start actually tackling other people's issues that they bring up to us or that we find that are out there online where people are asking for opinions and help. David, thank you for getting the Instagram going. So
let's keep moving forward as a group.
Follow our Instagram if you're watching this, our DNA podcast at DNA podcast.
Subscribe, like the videos, do it all. And let's end it here, boys.
Yes.
And if anything, thank you everyone for watching, whoever's out there watching, and have a good day and even better tomorrow.